Welcome to the family with
Gelfand.
And Andy Brent Bernard.
Hey, look at that. Now I'm glad that you came in today, Mike, because this happened to me this morning. You know, I've lost like 87 pounds. I got like 13 more pounds to lose, something like that. So they wanted me to do a profile picture. While I was reading a commercial, I stood up, and we're on camera anyway. So I did the profile picture and showed people that I wasn't making it up, that I actually have lost 87 pounds and it's been wonderful and all the rest of it. Now, this will show you how many people are working behind the scenes in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
I got an email today from Ted Cruz that said, I was talking to former President Trump today, and we both noticed, man, your profile looks great.
What?
Yep. Apparently, they tried to make it sound like they were listening, not only listening to, but watching the show this morning as well, and that my profile looks really great. So I should probably send them some cash to help with their campaign.
I would, yeah.
You think?
So do you think that was a bot, or do you think that
AI does a lot of great stuff with that?
Yeah.
They really, I mean, I shouldn't say it really does a good job. But I mean, you know how many people would be just floored by, oh my God,
sure,
Ted Cruz and the former president were watching the show. I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't think AI is sending out almost all that stuff?
I think it's quite a bit, yes.
So on X, as they always say, formerly known as Twitter.
Formerly known as Twitter, yes, that's right.
What percentage of the posting on X is from bots?
It's over 70%.
Is it really?
It's just crazy, isn't it?
And what's the benefit for them by doing that?
They create false consensus is the main one.
Oh, yeah.
If you want an opinion to become popular, all you have to do is make a bunch of bots parrot that opinion, and people will say, oh, look, a lot of people believe it. I think I'll believe it too.
And a lot of it is just, it's like, say China wanting just to turn us against each other, which they're doing a pretty good job.
They're doing a really good job.
Sowing dissent is another big part of it, yes.
Yeah.
Why do people fall for that?
Because they want to, basically.
Yeah, I suppose that is true. Because as I've told you, I'm as centrist as I've ever been in my entire life, and I just don't get upset by anything anyone says.
It's almost like people find comfort in being discomfortable.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and the hatred. Well, I sent a post out today, and then people thought the only reason I want to read it to you is some people thought this was very political, and it wasn't political at all. It was a joke. But, right now we're going into that era because it's the 29th of August.
Mm-hmm.
So we're within 2 months and a week of the election. So we're going to see how that goes. So they're sending out, and I would like to know the overreaction to this whole deal. I thought was pretty amazing, because some people thought it was way too political and I shouldn't have posted it. As I watched the national news keep digging for horrible things the other side has done and said, it occurred to me, I am sitting here dressed all in gray, which I am. You can see I'm dressed in gray.
Yeah, me too.
I hope no one thinks I'm supporting the Confederacy all these years later. Some people did not like that post. I thought it was too political.
I have to take
I
have to take my racing form sweatshirt off.
Yeah, you do. Absolutely.
It's gray, but I should have gotten the blue version.
And I are all you're dressed in blue and gray. So that's nice.
Yeah.
But I'm all gray, so I really...
Yeah, that's right.
Even my shoes are gray, for Christ's sake.
And what percentage of the population do you think would actually get that?
Not many, probably. You're probably right.
People think the Civil War was what happened after the last election.
Yeah, that's about right.
I've actually referred to the Civil War, and I've had people say to me, which one?
Yeah, which Civil War? Yeah, there you go. Well, the blue and the gray.
I've also experienced with millennials. I have nothing against millennials. My kids are millennials, and I, if I was to damn millennials, I'd be doing it to my own kids. So I would never do that. But I've make references to the turn of the century, and of course, their response is which century?
Which century? You're talking 1900?
Yeah, but
it's been a lot of centuries.
Yeah, but there's only one turn of the century.
That is fine. Well, even Kristen, and I love Kristen Bird. We've been working with her, Andy. You said 12 years.
Yeah, she was. Her first episode was very close to the beginning.
She's just wonderful to work with, but she thought that was political. It's like, for the Civil War, yes, it was political.
Yes.
But, no, there's all this stuff.
Well, the
going on.
Civil War is still being fought.
It is. That is true. There's no question about that. But we just keep on moving forward, and we'll see how it all works out in the end. And God bless America. That's all I've got to say.
There you go.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah, what the hell's that supposed to mean?
You son of a bitch.
Oh, well, God, by this time, I bet you if you had me name most of the generals in the Civil War, I couldn't even remember anymore. It's been that long since I thought of it.
I remember the former,
Sherman, was he Civil War?
Who's that?
Sherman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. That's the one I can name.
There you go.
Yeah. The thing about the Civil War is that it's the only general that comes to my mind immediately is the former Vikings quarterback, Bobby Lee.
Yeah, Bobby Lee. That's right. Yeah, there you go. Lived a long time to play with the Vikings.
He did. Robert E. Lee. Have they taken down all the statues yet, you think?
Most of them have come down, yes.
Because that's one, I mean, never mind the fact he was a traitor, but he was also a war criminal.
Yeah,
you can do
yeah.
better than him.
Yeah, you would think so. Well, first of all, have you ever been impressed with any statue?
Well, I liked the Mary Tyler Moore one.
Yeah, that's true. On Nicola Moore throwing her hat up in the air.
Yeah.
That was a good one. You're absolutely right.
You may remember I did a remote when they unveiled the statue.
I remember that. Yep.
And I as I recall, what I said was, now I'm looking at the statue. It's almost lifelike. Oh no, that's Mary.
What's so sad about that is we always thought she was just this very happy, young, pretty woman. And she led a miserable life.
Yeah. Great actress.
Great actress, actually, because she was miserable.
And she did, she could do tragedy. She could do comedy.
Yeah, she could.
She was very, she had it all covered. But what was the deal with her? Why, what about her misery?
Was some of it alcohol?
I don't remember. I
Andy,
do remember that she was troubled.
Yeah, she was very, very troubled. There's no question. We had her on the KQ morning show a couple of times, I remember, and she was very pleasant to talk to.
Yeah.
I think she had written a book or something like that.
Well, that the character she played in Ordinary People.
Yeah, oh yeah.
A lot of people said, well, that was kind of like the real Mary Tyler
That's
Moore.
what I remember hearing. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, her sister did overdose at 21, so
Yeah, that'll do it.
That's bad.
That'll affect you.
Yes.
No doubt about it. But you would think working with Dick Van Dyke would cheer you up every day. You would think.
Oh, and also her son accidentally shot himself in the head with a shotgun.
Oh my God.
Accidentally?
Yep.
How do you do accidentally shoot yourself in the head with a shotgun?
No,
Maybe cleaning it
I
or
wonder.
You'd have to hold it away from you, arm's length.
Yeah, it would be hard. Yeah.
He was 24 years old.
Oh, well, I
God.
mean, she didn't have a chance.
No, she didn't. She had no chance. Then.
Yeah. But yes, she was an alcoholic for a long time.
She was, yeah. Big boozer.
Also, she smoked 3 packs a day.
Whoa!
Oh,
That's a few.
What'd she hit the Marlboros? Does it say?
I don't know what brand she
You
preferred.
don't know the brand.
even my mother, when she was pregnant, only smoked 2 packs a day.
Well, it was healthy.
Gives you that smoky attitude you have to this very day.
She said, well, how could I know that would be unhealthy?
I quit smoking at 21 years old because the first things that were released about the bad side of smoking, I went, okay, that's it for me.
I smoked a little bit, like when I was maybe 16, 17.
Yeah, yep.
As soon as I turned 18, that was it.
Yeah.
The thrill was gone.
Yeah, and that's what it was. The thrill was kind of gone.
Yeah.
Pack of cigarettes back then, Andy, and a pack of cigarettes now is what, like $10?
It's probably about right, if I had to guess.
I think it's about $10 a pack for cigarettes. Back then, it's 31 cents.
I was going to say right around 30 cents. Yeah.
Then I think the last cigarette I ever smoked was a Lark.
Ah, the Lark. I remember the Lark.
cigarettes?
Yeah.
A lot of old golds back then. Lark. My dad smoked Pall Mall straights. Of course, he died at 60. But
Well, given where you grew up, I would have thought you might smoke Cool.
well, I
cigarettes.
did too.
Yeah.
That's where I ended up, was Cool and
Yeah.
Newport.
Had to go menthol.
You had to go menthol. You're absolutely living in North Minneapolis. You had to go menthol.
And I think the menthol cigarettes are even more dangerous.
I think you're right. I think they're worse for you.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. Well, remember that was one of the greatest bits that, what the hell's it? The black comedian is so damn David Chappelle.
Mhm.
The Dave Chappelle show when he won the lottery. Black man in America today wins the lottery.
Mhm.
First thing he went out and did is go out and buy an entire a huge truck full of cool cigarettes. He was phenomenal on that show.
He had when you look back, he surged for not a long time.
That's true.
And then at some point, I think he just got so into himself that the humor just went away.
It kind of seems like
Yeah,
that was true.
absolutely.
And what was that whole situation that something happened to him here, didn't it? In Minneapolis, St. Paul, there was some kind of weird occurrence. And then didn't somebody pull a gun on him somewhere in America? I think he pulled a gun on him on stage. And
Really?
yeah, a bunch of really weird stuff happened. Then he was, I didn't he have a, and I don't know what term can you still use the word trans? You can't say tranny, I know, but
You can
No,
say
he definitely-
trans, yeah.
Yeah,
You can say
is-
trans.
I think that's okay. Yeah.
didn't he travel with a trans person for a long time and nobody understood what that was all about?
And then he became fixated with transsexuals, and
Yes,
he
right.
couldn't stop demeaning them. It's
Right,
like,
right.
He'd done the bit. It didn't
Yep.
go over well.
No, it did
so
not.
he just did it again and again and again.
It's true. And that's why I brought it up, because I don't understand. That was not funny,
No.
unfortunately.
That was
Well,
hateful.
his last special wasn't funny either, so it's,
Oh, really?
it's
You
on
watched
brand
it?
for him.
So what did he cover his last special?
His specials have devolved into ranting about things that he doesn't like.
Oh, really?
He doesn't even really try to tell jokes. It's just like, it's a soapbox. It's almost like slam poetry.
Have we had anybody really funny since Don Rickles died?
I mean, there's been funny people, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean really funny.
I would argue, yes.
Like who?
Can't name any.
Well,
Yeah, because
I
But they
understand.
exist.
because
Yeah, they do.
the most successful comic right now is a guy who's not even a comic. He's not funny. He has bragged that he's never written a joke, but he's like approaching being a billionaire.
Who's that?
Kevin Hart.
Yeah, he's not funny in the least.
No.
You're absolutely. Is he approaching being a billionaire?
Apparently, yeah, it's whatever.
From what? Commercials?
A lot of commercials and also business ventures. And well, let's look, if he can make all that money as a so-called comic,
Mm-hmm.
how could he fail at anything?
Yeah, he's not even good at doing commercials, and he's on every commercial.
Yeah, and the thing is, he's the same in every commercial.
He's the same in
This
every
is true.
commercial.
So you go away thinking, oh, I just saw a Kevin Hart commercial, and people say, oh, what was it for? You have no idea.
No, not a clue. Yeah, I don't know what that's all about. Why him? I don't get it.
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't understand either. But I was kind of upset when Dave Chappelle had stopped doing comedy and just pissed and moaned about a lot of stuff.
Yep.
The one guy you got to give credit to for never doing that was Don Rickles. Don Rickles was funny till the day he died at 92 years old? I think Don Rickles was about 92 when he died. wasn't he, I think?
Yeah.
He was 90.
90. Okay, there you go.
I have to say though, when you get past say Lenny Bruce, who's
Yeah.
the greatest of all time as far as I'm concerned,
Mhm.
the guy I miss the most is probably Rodney.
Rodney Dangerfield was fantastic. And he died young, didn't he? Didn't he die in his early 60s, something like that?
I don't think he even got started till he was in his early 60s.
Oh, is that what it was?
Rodney
Yeah.
Dangerfield was 82. So.
Oh, so he started when he was 60.
Yeah,
that was
right
what it
around
was.
there. Yeah.
Let's see.
I mean, I think he was when he really hit it big. I think he was probably in his 60s.
His breakout role was in Caddyshack,
Caddyshack. Yeah.
and he was 59.
No, there you go.
But he was doing stand-up before that. But
He was, but he wasn't
it-
big.
until 59, no one had really heard of him.
Johnny Carson made him huge.
Yeah.
It was the Johnny Carson show. He blew up, just like Louis Anderson. Nobody had ever heard of Louis Anderson until he went on the Tonight Show, and after that, he was huge from then on.
I would say another guy who was like Woody Allen.
Mhm.
Woody was very funny, but then he had to be an auteur. you know.
Yeah, he did. have
And
to
it
be.
was, but it wasn't the same thing. But when he just started out, Albert Brooks he just slayed me.
Nobody was better.
No, he was fantastic. And his
Remember-
movies were good too. Are good.
Absolutely, his movies are good. Andy, you remember when Albert Brooks was on the show and he wouldn't stop laughing?
I don't
Oh,
actually.
you don't remember that? Yeah, we had him on the show and he would not stop laughing. It's like, okay, Albert.
And he hit it big for the first time. I think that most people were aware of him, and certainly that's true of me. Was once again it was Johnny Carson.
Yeah, Johnny Carson broke so many acts, it was unbelievable.
Johnny Carson, who introduced him as the great mime Albert Brooks. Do you remember that bit?
Albert Brooks. Yeah, that's right.
It was one of the funniest bits ever.
It was really, really good. But he was past your eyes. Oh no, I saw that one. He thought pasteurization was something about your eyes, or I don't know. It's hard. It doesn't sound funny bringing it up that way, but
Yeah.
these people were very, very fun. Who's the biggest comedian right now? I don't even know anymore. Does anybody know?
It depends on what you mean by biggest. The problem is there's 100,000 of them.
In terms of money, it's clearly Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart. And he's not funny in the
It's
least.
not funny. I don't even think he pretends to be funny.
No, he does not. He figured it out.
He just
somehow.
comes
Kevin
out.
Hart is #1 for highest paid comedians.
Yeah.
I've never even heard. Who's Terry Fator?
Uh-huh.
Oh, isn't he a puppet guy? Which Gelfand
He's
just
the
loves.
third highest grossing comedian.
I think we had him on the
in
show
2016. Yes, he is a puppet guy.
once. He's a puppet guy. We had him on the show once, I remember.
Huh.
I wonder why he's not in politics.
Well, he made $21 million in 2016. So
Oh, that's pretty
He
good.
did just fine.
Not a bad year
Kevin
No.
Hart, on the other hand, made $87 million.
Mm.
in 2016.
Yep.
$87 million for doing what?
Shouting.
The Secret Life of Pets, I think, was a big one. 2016, that's when that came out.
He made $1.7 million a month.
Hmm.
That's not fair, is it?
No, he made more than that.
Well, there's
He made
No justice.
$7.3 million.
Oh, sorry, I was talking a week, not a month.
Oh,
I was
yes.
talking about a week.
That would-
Sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh God, 1.7 million a week. That's not bad.
well, why not?
Yeah, you're right. But seriously, I cannot name who the hottest comedian is right now.
No.
I have not seen comedy in a long time that has been funny. Nobody has stepped up and just killed it. Do you think?
You know, I think in the age of the internet, it may not be possible.
No,
Well,
it's
good
not
point.
like, yeah, we don't have like that small pool of really huge comedians anymore. There's tons and tons and tons of them. And I mean, when you have that many choices, you don't really remember any of them.
Yeah, probably true.
It's like how there's probably never going to be like that one TV show that everyone has seen. It's like, you know,
Yeah,
Seinfeld and The Simpsons and that sort of thing. It's like everyone of a certain age saw The Simpsons, every last person.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that kind of show just doesn't exist anymore.
Well, that was what was that at that time called live TV. Even though it was a cartoon, it was on live TV, and TV has come apart at the seams since
And
the Netflix and the Amazon Primes of the world.
The closest thing I can think with a cultural impact like that would probably be The Mandalorian would be the most recent one.
Yeah,
Because I'm aware of like Baby Yoda, of course. Everyone's aware of that.
hmm
And then I think there's a line, "This is the way," people say. But like that's the only quote I can think of from any TV show in the past 10 years.
God, that is so weird though. And I think, and I'm very serious about this, Johnny Carson has never been replaced, and that's a big reason we don't know who the hottest comedians are, because he made so many comedians, it was unbelievable.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, honest to God, when he used to, you tune in the Tonight Show, and there'd be Dean Martin sitting there with a drink and a cigarette, and then Don Rickles would come out and ridicule the piss out of him, and then, I mean, that was television, man.
Yeah.
That was live television. What Andy? Do you happen to know? Because people in your age bracket would know better. How many people watch what used to be considered live TV anymore? I mean, cable came out before you were born, didn't it? Or as you were born?
When did cable TV come out? That's a good question. Because I remember it being a big deal for a while. Like when I was a kid, I still remember people being like, "Oh, you got cable TV?"
Oh, it was a very big deal. Yeah. Well, we were the first ones in the neighborhood to get it. That's true.
Let's
About
see.
50 years ago or so.
It's
gotta be, I
existed
think.
for quite a while, but it was very, very rare. So let's see. 6% of Americans had cable.
Mhm.
In
That
78,
would make sense.
7% had cable. So still almost nobody. By 88, 52% had cable. So in the 80s is when cable exploded and it became the norm.
I'm not kidding you when I tell you that when I lived across the street from the Lincoln Dell, and that would have been about 1970, somewhere in there, I had HBO. When did HBO come out, Andy? Because I got it right when it came out, I think. 69.
Home box office?
68, 69, 70,
72.
Oh, 72. Okay. So I had it, and people from the entire apartment building would come over to watch HBO, or home box office it was at that time.
Yeah, well, I remember in probably the early to mid 70s that every now and then I would go out to I can't remember the name of it, but there was Bloomington had cable TV. I think they might have been the first.
Probably true. That would have been a good pick.
So on Cedar Avenue, like maybe about 110th Street and Cedar Avenue, there was a bar that, and they always broadcast within broadcast, but they had the whatever Chicago station it was that did the Cubs games, and so there would always be crowds there, people from all over go there to watch the Cubs games, and also a guy who was known as Flowers would always be there. Do you remember Flowers?
Yeah, what?
He was a bookmaker.
Oh God, that's what it was.
He was the autistic bookmaker.
God.
And he would go around taking bets, like you could bet whatever you wanted to with him, and he would instantly be able to calculate what the odds were. So if you said to him, I want to make a bet that the Cubs will score a run in this inning, he'd give you the odds, and he would walk around. He always had like a dingy old sports coat, and he would just stuff the pockets with dollar bills or more. God. And people would follow him because they'd know that the money would just fall out of his pockets. That was Flowers. Flowers got busted. I don't know how many times, but about the third time, the judge said, don't do this anymore. Don't bring this man here anymore. He said, and I find him guilty, and I fined him $10. That was about what it was.
$10.
Yeah, because he was an easy bust, right?
Yeah, I suppose that's true. So sorry, my phone started ringing, and did you ever answer how many people watch regular broadcast TV? In other words, how many people still watch ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox? Are there any numbers for those 4 television channels? Because people don't really watch television anymore. They watch a television that has Netflix on it.
Yeah, and of course,
that is true.
People will watch for example, a show like Jimmy Fallon or Jimmy Kimmel. People will watch the monologue, but they're not going to watch it in front of a television.
No, probably true.
They'll
on
watch
their phone.
It probably the next day, and also just the next day. You go online. That's what I do if I'm curious, but I'm not going to sit there in front of the TV.
Those 3 shows are dreadful, all 3 of them.
Yeah, and they all obviously are produce a lot of money.
Well, they don't have the viewership anywhere near what.
Well,
it
no,
used to
but
be.
it's still because it's not that expensive for them to produce that.
Well,
stuff.
that's true. Yeah, that is true.
Now, Jimmy Kimmel, I think he takes the whole summer off.
I think you're right. I think it is true.
He probably makes a lot of money, and he gets to take the whole summer off. And I guess they figure he gives, he makes so much money for them that they say, okay.
Well, he's got his own club in Vegas now. I know that.
Oh, that's right.
Jimmy Kimmel Club in Vegas. And
he delivers a joke with the best of them. He's not a comic in the classic sense.
Not at all.
But he's got good writers.
He was Ben Stein's sidekick. That's where he came from. And he was dreadful as a sidekick. I mean, horrible.
Yeah, well, this is his milieu right now.
Yeah, no, it is. That's
so I've got numbers for Fox News, CNN, and MSNBC.
Oh, you do?
Yes. Total average viewers for each. CNN is not doing well.
No,
I can tell you that much. Fox News, 1.8 million. CNN, 600,000. And MSNBC, 1.2 million.
So that's the big one now. That's the one I always hear referenced now instead of CNN.
That's interesting.
Yeah, CNN is basically, I don't know if it's going to exist in 10 years.
Well, it's interesting that the 2 left-leaning shows have about the same number of viewers as the right-leaning.
They add up to almost exactly the same as Fox.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of where we are.
Yeah,
now,
within 0.04 viewers, or like 0.04 million viewers. But still.
They'll both, all these ones will do well now in an election year.
That's true.
that's
Yeah.
true,
Next year, come January, I don't think any of these channels are going to have any viewers.
Yeah.
Actually, that's like, I wonder if I can see, like, I don't know. When do you think the like hate watching started? Probably like maybe this year.
Oh yeah, easily. Yeah. Yeah.
I wonder if I can find numbers for 2023, like late 2023.
Oh, I'm
then-
sure you can.
And then of course, it's always best for the cable channels if their guy does not get elected.
That's true because everybody
gets
that's
mad.
true.
Yep.
Everybody gets angry. Binge watch.
Looks like in 2023. This is for prime time. So Fox News averaged in prime time 1.8 million viewers last year.
Mhm. That's not very many.
MSNBC 1.2, CNN 600,000. So about the same.
Yeah. It's
But that-
50-50.
But that was the prime time viewership, not just the average.
Mhm.
Oh wow. In the 25 to 54 demo, Fox News averaged 200,000.
Jesus.
CNN and MSNBC both averaged 125,000.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
People just don't watch it anymore, huh?
Not people under the age of 55.
The nice thing though is let's say you have a gout attack.
Gout attack, yes.
Thing
I
to do is
understand.
just turn to one of these channels and you'll see a commercial for
Mhm.
something that will help you.
Or if
No,
you have
they
moderate
do,
to
yeah.
severe plaque psoriasis. Here we go. Average day, 1.2 million for Fox, 800,000 MSNBC, and 479 for CNN. So that's the average day in 2023.
CNN's thing, now is they're if you see one of their panel discussions where there's like 8 people there,
Mhm.
what they do is they'll have like, sort of like, well, let's say that they'll have 2 or 3 people who are pretty much in the middle. Then you'll have 2 or 3 who are really far left, and then they'll have a couple who are really far right.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I don't think that's what people want.
I think you're absolutely right about that. Now, looking at it, Andy, I'm going to guess because you just talked about the highest rated news programs in the country. Because
Those are the 3 that anyone cares about. Yeah.
You're right. Exactly. Joe Rogan per day. How many podcast listeners does he have?
Let's see.
It's millions.
It's going to take a bit.
And personally, I don't even think he's very good at it. So it's just podcasting is the huge deal now. But breaking through in podcasting is a bitch
Yeah.
because there are so many huge shows out there now.
Well, and that's the thing, of course. There's so many people listening to podcasts,
Mm-hmm.
but there's hardly any podcasts that, that are that huge. So
Mhm.
if you, as you say, if you break through, if you get like, 1% of the people listening to a podcast
Yeah.
are listening to you, you're a very wealthy person.
Very well, like $125 million wealthy.
About 11 million listens per episode.
11 million a day. Oh, and he only does 2 or 3 a week.
I think he does 2 a week.
I think it's 2 a week, something like
Really?
that.
Oh,
I
I
don't-
thought
I-
it was every day.
Let's go
No,
to his site.
that's what I
have
thought.
no idea. Let's
That's
go
what
to
I
his
thought,
site.
but apparently he only does a couple a week.
The JRE. How do I even find it? His website blows. Here we go. Spotify. August 28th, 27th, 23rd, 22nd, 21st. Okay, so it is. It's every weekday, it looks like.
And all these podcasts, for the most part, all the news shows, they have no idea what's happening in the Midwest.
No, that's true.
No.
Nothing. We don't even exist.
Right.
Nope.
There was I can't remember who had said it, but there was a clip. Oh, I know it was Laura Ingraham. Is that how she pronounces
I
her
think it
last
I
is.
name?
think so.
She said she was talking about the Midwest, and she said, and she was talking about Wisconsin, and she said, she said, I've been to Wisconsin many times. I know Wisconsin pretty well, especially Minneapolis.
Yeah, Minneapolis, Wisconsin. Very, very famous. There's no question about it.
It's always been that way.
Yes,
yeah,
it has.
absolutely.
It has. There's
I mean,
no
it's not
question
just
about
her.
it. But yeah, I mean, the world is changing rapidly now. God, well, the KQ Morning Show when Mike and I were on it had a 40 share. It now has a 1.6.
It's just tough to even wrap your head around.
Yeah, nothing gets a 40 share anymore.
No, God,
Absolutely
no.
nothing.
Nothing does. There's no question about that. But but you got like Joe Souchere's podcast gets 1 million downloads a month. I mean, he does very well on that thing. There's no question about that.
That's good to know because he's our age.
Yep. Yeah, that is a different deal. Well, that's the other thing about radio. People listening to radio. Andy, is anybody your age younger listen to the radio anymore?
Not often, no.
No, I wouldn't think so. So I don't know what they're going to do with that whole deal. Like, they're going to have to develop podcast networks, and that's a bitch because getting people to even know you. I still would say after a year and a half that about 80% of people in this city don't even know I have a podcast.
Yeah.
But I don't know how do you break that through? How do you get to them? Because you can't run TV spots anymore because nobody watches live TV anymore either.
This is true.
I mean, you can't run a newspaper ad because nobody reads the newspaper. So how do you get the word out?
It's interesting that at least in this market, a lot of the podcasters who seem to be doing all right are people who started out in newspapers.
Yeah, that's true. I think that is true. Yep.
That's their launching pad. But as you say, what's the next generation's launching pad?
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess it's Instagram or something like
that.
Or TikTok.
TikTok, yeah.
How about that whole situation over on Meta? Meta's which one? Is that Facebook?
That's Facebook.
He came out and said that the politicians have been hammering him to lie. Do you know that story, Andy?
Yep.
Because I don't really know the story. So what's going on? Because what's his name again? The guy who owns Meta?
Zuckerberg.
Mark
Right?
Zuckerberg. Yeah, Mark Zuckerberg.
I'm pretty sure that's right.
He owns Meta. So what were they doing? They were telling him.
They're telling him to remove content that was contrary to their stated goals.
So they told him to lie.
Debatably, yeah.
So he was basically doing from one direction what X is doing from the other, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, censorship on the behalf of one party.
So I'm not on X. So they do the same thing. They direct people in one certain way.
It's Elon Musk.
Yeah, so it's very conservative. Is that correct?
To say the least, yeah.
I love a conservative guy that names his kid after numbers and letters.
Yeah, that's a real warm human being, huh?
That's a real warm human being right there. No question. Doesn't he have like 13 children or something?
He has 7?
I think it's at least 10.
He has 11 apparently.
11 children. It's like, Jesus.
And at least one of which, of course, she changed her name.
Yeah, she did.
The trans one. And this is how warm the guy was or is. Somebody asked him about the daughter, and he said, "Well, you can't win them all."
He did say you can't win them all.
Hey, thanks, right. Dad.
I've said that about Andy many times.
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable. You don't want to show love to anybody.
That's just like the old son. I have no son.
Who was that again?
I don't know how that started.
Son, I have no son. Didn't he tear his shirt too when he was saying it?
I don't remember.
Something like that. I don't remember that either. But God, the way the world is changing, it's just amazing. Andy, you're of that age. What's the future of media? I mean, where is it going to go?
I mean, it's probably going to stay roughly the same.
So it's going to be all Netflix and Prime and Hulu.
Yeah, everything's going to be streaming through the internet.
And podcasts are going to take over radio completely eventually.
They already have, arguably.
Arguably they have. But so where do you look for local news then? Because nobody buys the newspaper anymore either.
Social media. Every local news station has their own Facebook page and Twitter account.
And then you find out they're all lying.
Well, then why would you want to find them in the first place?
Well, that's what I'm saying, because I'm trying to find the truth.
Oh, well, what?
Well, that post I made this morning about dressing all in gray. Some people were deeply offended by that. It's too political. I'm like, I was talking about the Civil War, which is a few years ago, but I
think people should know more about the Civil War, because I think if they do, they can kind of understand what's going on today a lot better.
Well, I just happened to look in the mirror and noticed I was dressed in gray, all gray. Even my shoes are gray.
Yeah.
So, take a shot at the Confederacy, whatever. But they don't grasp that anymore the way they used to.
I don't think they teach it in school anymore because the kids wouldn't be interested.
No, I suppose that's.
I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, what are we going to do with all that stuff?
What I found interesting was that they're going to in the presidential election this year. I would guess maybe maybe somewhere around 3 to 4 billion. That's a pretty big range.
Mhm.
Is going to be spent on, on,
Oh, yeah.
on commercials and such. But
Well, I wonder, actually, let's see, 2020 presidential race spendings. I wonder how much they spent. Let's see,
Well, those two,
2020.
yeah.
No, you're off by a little bit, I would say.
yeah, much more.
According to this site here, 2020 election cost 14 billion.
So is that the presidential election,
14
or is it all the elections?
That's a good question. It says the 2020 election, so I'm guessing that would be presidential.
No, I guess.
$14 billion.
Well, I saw a list of like the top, I don't know, it was like the top 10 donors, the ones who spent the most
Oh,
money.
yeah, yeah.
And I think 6 or 7 of them were hedge funds.
Oh,
It's
yeah, here we go.
always hedge funds now.
Yeah.
Yes.
So just for presidential campaigning, it's 5.7 billion in 2021.
Okay, 5.7. Yeah, that'll be much more this year.
It's gonna be a lot more this year.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, you've got hedge fund guys who are. Well, there's one guy who's almost spending $1 billion by himself.
By himself, yeah.
Yeah.
That's how it's mostly going to be.
And Elon Musk was purported to have said that he was going to like donate something like 35 million a week or something like that.
Yeah, a month or a week or
But-
something
but-
like that.
But then, of course, later on, he said he wasn't. So,
Right.
but that's Elon Musk.
Yeah, it's an interesting crowd, isn't it? No question.
It's not what the founding fathers had in mind.
Somebody told me, and again, I can't prove this, but it's funny to say, and the guy's not going to be damaged by it anyway. But I have a friend who still does voiceover in LA.
Mm.
And apparently they offered George Clooney $1 million to do a commercial. He said, I'm not working for $1 million. Apparently
It's
$1
quite
million.
the life.
It's not even enough money to record a commercial
Well,
anymore.
get out of bed for less than 10.
Well, I think his wife alone is a billionaire.
I believe that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So
She's like a supermodel or something, right?
I don't know, where did she get
Who
her
am I
money?
thinking of? I know there's some rich guy who's married to a supermodel who's even richer than him, but maybe
Oh God, it just popped in. She's worth like $6 billion too.
guy married to supermodel.
Oh God. Well, Tom Brady, he was married to
Is that who I'm
Yeah.
thinking of?
she's a supermodel, isn't she?
Yeah, she
Yes,
was
but-
anyway.
So
Yeah.
she was worth more than he was. I know that.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it was $6 billion.
Sadly, it just didn't work out for that couple.
Yeah, those kids didn't stay together, unfortunately.
No. But he's going to be an NFL analyst now.
But, oh, is he?
Yeah.
Does anybody watch that stuff anymore? I don't even watch that stuff anymore.
Well, gambling has sustained
Oh, that's true. Good point.
the interest in the NFL.
That
I
is
mean,
a good
basically,
point.
major sports thrive on gambling now.
Yeah, they
That
do.
is very true.
They're the same ones who, when I was covering baseball, for example, you'd go into a locker room and there would be a sign in every locker room telling the players, it's things like, what you say here stays here,
Uh-huh.
this.
Yeah.
And an FBI agent would come along before, and like during the exhibition season, and he would come along, they'd come into locker rooms and talk to players about their need to avoid being involved in gambling. Don't talk to a gambler of any
Right,
kind.
right.
And now it's like, hey, I want you to just chum it up with the gamblers now.
Isn't that a bit? I have heard, and this is not me saying this is what I've heard, that all those agencies now, like the FBI, and you go down the list, are corrupt as hell.
Well, they've always been.
They always have been, haven't they, Andy?
Yes.
Well, look at Whitey Bulger. This is a guy who he was so chummy with the FBI. The FBI, there were certain FBI agents. It wasn't all of them, of course, but there were a few. And, they would like tell him who it was okay to kill that week.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No, that's exactly
great
right.
to know, isn't it?
Well, I'll tell
Power
you-
corrupts, and the FBI is one of the most powerful organizations in the world.
No
So,
doubt. CIA, obviously.
yeah, the rule definitely applies there.
It's almost like, why can't we get Hoover back?
Get him back in office. I went through it myself. I was owed a lot of money by some people who ripped me off. And I thought, well, God, I'll just get a hold of the FBI and they'll take care of it.
Hmm.
As soon as they walked in the door, I went, I'm screwed. I knew the second, because they had this look on their face like, oh, it's you. It's one of those kind of deals. Like, and it was true. I
bought a house from an FBI agent.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
The one you're in now?
Well, the one, no, not the one now, but,
Oh,
but
okay.
the one before. And they the FBI agent, I didn't talk to him a lot, but he was moving to Cleveland. He said, yeah, they said, you know, the FBI is moving me to Cleveland. He said, I can't wait to get there, man. There's so much mafia action.
Something to do, huh?
Yeah, I didn't have much to do here.
Nothing to do here.
You know, after the rackets left here, there was just crime just took a different direction.
How did it ever come to be that an organization like the FBI or all of them, how did they ever come to be this way? Because they were supposed to be completely taken out of any political argument.
Yeah, I don't think it's
CIA, all of them.
A lot of it is, I think most of it is not political, because I think mostly the corruption involves money and sex.
But I think it is very political.
It's
I mean,
definitely. Well, whatever party is in power can install whoever they want. That's the real problem is excessive centralization. It's like, you know, if you can just remove the current director and install your own puppet there, then there you go. The FBI is now yours, and that shouldn't be possible.
That shouldn't be.
How many agents are there too? You know, I mean, there's so many.
A lot of them now.
So there's going to be some bad actors.
There are 35,000 agents and other professionals.
Ooh, professional law enforcement. There you go.
Intelligence analysts, language specialists, scientists, and so forth.
Yeah, I think most FBI agents rarely get up from their computer.
I have a question for you. Investigators are basically police officers, correct? I mean, that's
detectives, I suppose.
Detectives, yeah.
Well, the investigator, yeah, I guess so, yeah.
So why is there such a wide gap between local police officers and national police agencies? They're completely different.
Yeah, and that's one reason why there's not enough connection there.
There's no connection.
They got to be working together.
Yeah. Well, it's like how old is the trope where, you know, the FBI rolls into town and takes over, and the local cops are all like, "Oh, it's my jurisdiction," and the FBI says, "Not anymore."
Right.
You know, it's been a thing forever.
Yeah, you see that.
They've never gotten along.
See that in a lot of crime novels.
Yep, exactly. The local police and FBI have never gotten along in fiction.
Well, you know, because they both want to say it was their bust.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Well, only
we
if
caught him.
Ephraim Zimbalist Jr., then you got to take
the FBI.
He was the FBI. My mother loved that show.
Oh, yeah. That was Herbert Hoover's idea of how to publicize the FBI.
Get a TV show going.
And a TV show going, and there was never like any hint of any corruption in the FBI.
Oh God, no.
Those guys were heroes, and they were white, and they were like they were the people you would like to have for a brother, a father, a son.
I know you guys aren't going to believe this, but it is true. Catherine and I were watching TV last night, and during a commercial break, we saw a middle-aged white man on a commercial.
Was he the butt of the joke?
What drug was it for?
Oh, yeah.
There are no
white
men on commercials.
Was it for?
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing, though, that they just take racism and flip it every so often, then it'll flip back, and you don't ever see, like, I would say, older than a 40-year-old white man on a commercial anymore.
No, never.
Just doesn't happen.
Well, I guess that's true. What you do see more and more are people who are overweight.
Yeah, you do.
But then it's almost always an Ozempic commercial.
Ozempic. I even know their jingle.
For all the money they spend, couldn't they come up with a better jingle?
I know, really.
I guess that stuff is not cheap.
Oh, no.
How much? They said somebody's working on an Ozempic pill. That's going to change that forever if you don't have to get an injection.
Well, and then not only that, but then that'll give them 7 more years of protection.
Yep, more patents.
Oh, that's true. 70. Well, good point. That's a very good point.
Because they obviously could put it out on the market now, but they wait till the current patent it expires.
Oh, we got to, Andy, would you look it up and see when the current patent on Ozempic expires, so we know the pills will be out the next week?
Let's see.
It's got to be pretty soon now. Ozempic's been around for a while.
Yeah, it has been.
Ozempic patent expiry, January 20th, 2026.
Oh, so it's only a year and a half more, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. It looks like it was pushed back.
Really?
To 2031.
Oh, what?
What? I don't
Was
believe
that. Like a second generation of whatever medication they're...
Apparently, the FDA can just extend patents if they so choose. Well,
But
it's like Mickey Mouse. You know, he was technically supposed to have gone public domain decades ago, but
Yeah.
the patent office was like, Mickey Mouse being public domain would be bad, so we're just gonna push it forward.
You know what that tells me, though? That a year and a half from now, the pills will be on the market because the patent was extended on Ozempic. So they probably will put the pills out in 2026, just like they thought they were going
Plus,
to.
by then, there may not be any people who are overweight.
Yeah, that's true. It might not be at all.
They're going to have to come up with something.
People do have different reactions to that. I've been on Ozempic myself. It does work really well, but you literally do not get hungry. I mean, you don't. It's amazing. And what does it attack in your body? I shouldn't say attack, I suppose, but what does it control in your body that causes that?
I've looked it up before. It doesn't. It's overly complicated. It would take a million.
Oh, I
years.
suppose, yeah.
I find that depression works really well.
Depression, you don't want to eat a whole lot.
No.
A failed gallbladder also is a great way to lose weight.
No, I suppose. Yeah, that's another one. I would imagine. Well, I've even heard of some people, and not any specific diet, pill, or whatever, causes them to vomit.
Oh, really?
No.
Yeah, some people it does cause them to vomit. I suppose that would be the ultimate rejection of food, wouldn't it?
It sure would.
So basically, it's like the presidential election.
Yeah, I'm vomiting already. There's no question about it.
So much of it is about people's DNA. I mean, my dad spent like a month gorging on bananas so that he would weigh enough to be accepted by the army during World War II.
Really?
Why bananas?
Well, because there's a lot of calories in bananas, and my dad loved bananas, and they were relatively inexpensive.
Well, bananas for their size don't really have that many calories. About 150 for an average size banana.
Well, if you can eat
just eat like 20 or 30 of those.
Yeah,
a day.
that's going to be a problem.
There you
No
go.
question.
and I imagine he could. I would eat a lot of bananas, except they're terrible for heartburn.
Oh, for some people they are.
For
yes.
me, yeah, it's the worst thing ever.
So some people see bananas. I love bananas.
Oh, they're great. Yeah,
They're wonderful.
My dad, even the funny thing about my dad is you would think after gorging on bananas, all that, he would not like them anymore. He would say, I'm not eating another banana. No. Right to the day he died.
Huh.
He loved those bananas. He would send me to the grocery store when he had dementia. And he'd say, yeah, I need a bushel of bananas. He said, but I'm not paying a penny over 52 cents a pound.
Yeah, there you go.
Good luck.
So I would have to lie to him about how much they cost.
You know what? I got to be honest with you. This just popped into my head that if I had to eat the same thing every day for every meal for the rest of my life, it would be a banana with a handful of caramels. I love those.
You lose your teeth very quickly.
Yeah, my teeth would all fall out. But other than that,
well, my dad, he was right there on the cusp of you are what you eat.
Yeah,
he figured that out when he was pretty young, and it was easy for him too because he basically had no taste buds.
Oh, see, that's too bad.
So yeah, in fact, his dying words involved food. He was in the last stages of dementia, and he was in the hospital, and the nurse who was involved with this, she told me this story. I wasn't there, but she told me this story. She said that she brought him his dinner, and it was like a typical dementia dinner. It was like
your dad,
meatloaf, yeah,
mashed potatoes,
peas, a lot of gravy,
yeah,
and of course the protein itself had no taste, and so they brought that to him. She brought it to him, and she said this was the last cogent sentence he ever spoke, and then he died a few days later, and what he said was, "I don't eat this shit."
Well, he didn't.
No, and he didn't.
It's just the way the whole thing went. And I just got a text message from a person that said, "Crazy people eat bananas."
Well, my dad was not crazy.
Well, so he wasn't crazy.
He was about as far from crazy as you could get.
Well, so that means I'm in good company then.
Absolutely.
I'm glad to hear that because, crazy people eating a lot. So there was another famous figure that ate nothing but bananas, but I can't remember who it is.
You have to take a lot of vitamins, I think.
I would guess so, because you're talking about, I think it was a movie star of some kind.
Well, plus, I don't believe that there's much protein in bananas.
Probably
It's
not.
mostly carbs.
Yeah, that's probably true. Speaking of that, by the way, I'll see if Andy finds that first of all, and if not, I got to tell you, when I was doing my Livia commercial this morning on the morning show, I saw something. What a shock! You got anything, Andy?
No.
No big deal.
There's a lot of people who apparently eat a lot of bananas.
You're right. There are a lot of people that eat tons of bananas.
God, yeah. I mean, you go to the grocery store. Half the time I go to the grocery store, they're restocking the bananas.
That's true.
Well,
And
apparently, the assistant coach for the Sixers once ate 30 to 40 bananas a day.
That's probably what my dad was doing.
His name was
30 to 40 a day.
Fabulous Flournoy. What the hell kind of name is that?
Fabulous Flournoy. I don't know that. I don't know that person.
I don't either.
I don't know who that is, but such as so here's what I found out today. I'm doing a live commercial, standing up and showing people my profile and all that stuff and how much weight I've lost. And because I've got like 13 pounds ago, I've lost 87 pounds or 88 pounds, something like that.
So how long has it taken?
Well, I lost the first 50 over the last 2 years. And then when I got on Livia, I've lost the other, what would that be then? 38 pounds.
So you've really done it the right way.
Yeah, to take off 100 pounds. Well, there's a guy that was on the show that was on Livia, and he took off like 114 pounds in 1 year. That's amazing.
It's pretty quick.
Do you ever know Jimmy Deutsch, my friend Jim Deutsch? And you remember Jim Deutsch, don't you?
I would probably recognize him,
he was a golf guy.
You know, I'm not so good with names.
Golfer. I ran into him. I did not recognize him. He's lost like 122 pounds in the last year.
Yeah.
I mean, using 10 pounds a month. That's a lot of weight to be losing, brother. I'll tell you
sure
that.
Is.
Boy, I can only, I used to wonder why the big and tall stores weren't around anymore.
Yeah.
Now, I think we know now.
They're all big and tall stores now. Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, I'm just saying there won't be any.
No, well, not with that. Yeah, that's true.
They'll be tall. They just won't be big.
So I went out to the Renaissance Festival pre-opener for the media. I went out there and having a good time, and everybody had this. They had a pepperoni and caramel pizza, which I thought, what? But I had a bite. Like it was really good. I'll tell you, it was really good.
I'm not that big of a fan of caramel.
Oh, I love caramel.
But it's pizza.
It is pizza.
What doesn't work with pizza? Pineapple, maybe not.
A lot of people eat pineapple out there pizza.
Yeah, I know
they do.
I don't. Yeah. But here's my deal. I'm going, okay, what am I going to eat? So I went, well, this is not a problem. I'll just have a turkey leg. Turkey doesn't have much fat in it. It's got some, but not a ton. Mm-hmm. Turkey meat is very good for you and all the rest. I'll just have a turkey leg. I did not finish it because they're so damn big, first of all. Have you ever seen a turkey wing?
Yeah, they're huge.
They're, honest to God, as big as my arm.
Yep.
And I'm not kidding. They're as big as my arm.
That's, we can only thank hormones for that.
Yeah, well, that's true.
I mean, they bolt those things up so quickly. It's like, 6 months it takes. God. And then that's it for the turkey.
So I go with the safest thing to eat. I went with turkey. Mm-hmm. Turkey's good for you. It's not high fat. No, not the rest of it. While I'm doing the commercial live on the air this morning, I see the turkey leg you can get at the state fair has 1,150 calories in it.
Well, they're absolutely massive. So that makes sense. They are.
Well, and I didn't come anywhere near finishing that thing, but holy God, 1,150 calories in a turkey leg.
Well, when I was a kid, I remember we'd go there and I'd get a turkey leg. Like the first thing I'd do was go get a turkey leg. And I would just eat that thing over the course of the entire time we were there. No, it would take me like 3-4 hours to eat.
It would, no question. All right. Any closing words, fellas? Any important topic you want to close out?
I say, I've preached this, we've all preached it, but less politics and more affection.
Well, the affection part is not working. I will tell you that. Yeah. I agree with the less politics, but it's every day. It's
I found the perfect attraction at the state fair when we were there. Yeah. It was this thing where you get into a little boat. And you'd go round and round in sort of murky water, and it was nice and dark in there. Mm-hmm. And plus, I thought I didn't know what it was. Apparently, it was a dating site.
Oh,
yeah, it was called Ye Old MILF.
Oh God! How long have you been working on that one?
It just came to my mind. when we were at the fair the other
Because it was
day.
the old mill, wasn't it?
It
That was
still
the name?
is, yeah.
Oh, it still is the old mill.
Yeah. I read a story in the paper about the old mill the other day.
Oh, you did. Okay.
So it immediately came to mind. The old mill, the people who started the thing and ran it made so much money, I guess, that they just retired.
Mhm.
So the state fair bought it.
And wasn't it? Somebody told me at one time it was called the Love Tunnel. I don't know if I'd be calling it the Love Tunnel at the fair, but
Mm.
You know, a lot of stuff comes to mind when you hear that.
Well, Tunnel of Love was like a thing.
that was
Sure,
the thing. Yes.
Yeah.
Tunnel of Love was the thing, but
Yep.
the Love Tunnel's different.
I always thought Tunnel of Love was like a weird concept. You just go into a dark tunnel and make out for a while?
I guess.
I don't know.
I don't see anything wrong with that. But
Do that at home.
yeah.
All right, boys. We will talk to you next week. Talk to you tomorrow on the show.
Every time I hear the singing reminds me how you talking